Hi, everybody. Is this... Yeah, there we go. We're up and running. Um, while everybody's filing in, I'll play some video games while we're all... Shut up. Sorry, I had my own ads playing in the background. Get out of here. Okay. While everybody's filing in, give me the live chat so I can see it on my phone. Gang, I'm not good at this, but have faith. Have faith that someday I will improve. But anywho, just gotta fire up the... I have to reload it. There we go. Now I got the chat. Hey everybody, how we doing? Any advice for a college grad with no job? You got any advice for me? I work at a restaurant, which I enjoy. I like the restaurant where I work. But the problem is that it's not really exactly like my passion is not making mimosas for people. I hate to say it. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. But yeah, I don't know. I guess just apply to places, because for me that was, I guess if you're still kind of in the college mindset, I guess you could take an internship if that's like a thing that's doable for you, because I mean, like, unpaid internships are kind of a scam. I guess if it's doable for you, you kind of have to in a lot of cases. For me, it's like my degree's in new media communication, which made me like it's back on my wall behind me to the left. And I mean, I'm not gonna. It wasn't not valuable. It's nice to have, but like, I'm not using it right now. It did make me better at making videos. So that's nice. I learned how to run Adobe After Effects, which I don't use really at all, but it helped me learn how to use Premiere. It got me acquainted with all that stuff. But yeah, 80s goaltending is kind of a crapshoot. Like, they didn't really invent goaltending until 1996. Like, until Hasek and Brodeur showed up, nobody was goaltending. Until the butterfly became a thing, like, goaltending wasn't what we know. But I mean, I'm no goalie expert. But yeah, I won't play this game forever. I promise. I'm just, you know, giving everybody some time to come filing in.
We'll hew through anything.
But yeah, looks like we have some people, so we can probably start here pretty shortly. Just let me do one more room.
You don't know who you're dealing with.
I don't like this guy. But yeah, so should we start with the trade conversations? Like, should we start with some deadline talk? Because that'll probably take a little less time. Or should we go directly to the Olympic conversation? What are you thinking? Killer Nordique shirt? Yeah, thank you. I got it in Quebec City, actually. It's Peter Stastny. But yeah, that was a great trip. Quebec City's awesome. If you haven't gone, it's extremely sick. I would suggest that you go if you get the opportunity. All right. I think enough people are here that I can get to doing my actual job now. Let's go deadline first, then talk Canada, US once it's on, then switch to Olympic talk. I think that's reasonable. All right. Window capture. Fire this guy up. Okay. Oh, cool. It's up. Great. Going to be rooting for Suzuki to Austin Matthews in the Olympics isn't fun. Yeah. I'd imagine that's a little bit of a big swap there. I'll have to log into my Peacock here on the old computer. I obviously can't show that on screen, but I can bring it up, have it play a little bit in the background. I just know so little about the women's game, unfortunately. But all right. So this is Chris Johnston's most recent trade board. It's the trade board 5.0. It's the pre-Olympics trade board. But it does have Artemi Panarin up there at the top. He did get moved to Los Angeles. We can talk about that for a couple seconds. Let's see the full trade. Artemi Panarin traded for a 3rd-round pick, a 4th-round pick way later, and Liam Greentree, who is a pretty well-regarded prospect. Yeah, first round, 26th overall. Let's bring him up here. Sorry, it took me a little while to get started here. I had to recover my Twitter account because I forgot my password. I forget my passwords to many things, so don't try guessing them, I say. Been loving the music. Oh, thanks, man. That's nice of you. That's nice of you to say. Oh, Poulin's out for the Canadians. That's good for the Americans, I guess. But I haven't been up to date on recent rules and rumors. Line A going to Carolina for cap dump. That'd be fun. That'd be a good fit. They always struggle to have guys to put the puck in the net, but yeah, Liam Greentree, pretty nice season in 25. He's a 2-year overager with 48 points in 37 games. That's okay. I'd like to see probably more like 2 points per game if you're a 2-year overager, but yeah, Rangers development's historically terrible. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Because it's somewhere like mid-2010s hockey, emphasis on generating shots from the slot, proper improving danger points, shots via tips and screens. It's if you like, I've watched some PWHL games. They play far more structure intensive game. Like, it's much lower scoring, stuff like that. It's not bad to watch. I wish they scored more, but, I don't know if he's on the Athletics board, but would love to hear your thoughts on Brad Lambert being moved. I'd love Brad Lambert as a Penguins fan. I saw some Penguins people pointing to Brad Lambert as somebody that they would be interested in. I think that would be a really nice ad for them. I don't really know where he fits in their lineup, but I think he'd be a fun grab. Slow guy going to the Rangers. The Rangers seem to kind of like playing slow. Next on the big board's Vinny Trocheck. We'll touch a little bit on what his deal is with the Olympics. He's technically underpaid by Dom Luszczyszyn's. Yeah, Lambert is in the Pens window. Absolutely. Yeah, a guy who is pretty good right now, but should theoretically get better. Vinny Trocheck technically underpaid by Dom Luszczyszyn's model, which that's reasonable. 5.625. I think he signed for next year. But I'm interested to see how he does in the Olympics, because I think he will play. I think he'll get a decent amount of minutes, but we'll see how he actually performs. I'm not entirely sure. He could really swing his value one way or the other. They like playing slow and hired Mike Sullivan. Yeah, Rangers downfall. What is Drew doing? Jeff Gorton vindicated more with each passing day. That guy knew what he was doing. Oh, yeah, it says 2029 UFA. That's a fine contract to take on, honestly, even though it's a little longer. I don't see many teams with the rising cap being too afraid to take him on. He's only 32. He's not going to completely hit a wall. Yeah, I think Vince is worth grabbing, especially if you can put him as a third line center somewhere. I think that's a good addition. Vander Kane, I don't know, man. What's he even doing this year? Yeah, mostly just grit and can sometimes score. 9 goals in 56 games. I'm not sure I would give up much of anything for Evander Kane at this point in his career. At that contract, is he expiring? Does it say? Yeah, he's a 2026 UFA, so he is expiring, so it doesn't matter that much. Double, he'd have to, he can't double retain anymore, but he'd have to at least be single retained, which would bring him right around the market value. Trocheck to the Wild. Oh boy, the Wild could really use a center. I don't know if he gets them Hartman Kiviharju in a 2026 or 27 first. I think he'll get them a first, but Kane's worth a 4th round pick. Yeah, I wouldn't say much more. I think single retained, he'll probably get a 3rd from somebody, but man, the Stars want him? Why? I mean, he's okay, but Shane Wright's another interesting piece for the Penguins. He's still low. He's still on his entry-level deal, I think. And a decent market value. He was quite good last year. He's been quite not good this year. You're not getting a lot from him, but he had some sort of stability. Yeah. 3rd seems like the actual price. Right. I think somebody's going to do it. Shane Wright would be a great add to a young team, but the Kraken are in a playoff spot. Yeah. The Kraken are also stupid. McDavid to Detroit. Stars want Kane because Rantanen isn't taking enough penalties. Yeah, sure. Yeah, the Kraken are dumb, so I think I would not be surprised at all to see them move Shane Wright for. They're all like, I know they're in a playoff spot. I know. Shane Wright's production's not even down that much. Like, he's okay, you know? They're not scoring at all, and they're getting great goaltender from getting great goaltending from Philip Grubauer. Like, that's not. I like Joey Daccord a lot, but you're not going to get that kind of performance out of Grubauer forever. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen. Poverty franchise. They stink. They are run very badly. Yeah, I don't. I see them trading Shane Wright. I think that's absolutely going to happen. And I think they'll probably get like a worse prospect that is younger. Like, I don't know. Who's a good example here? I don't think the Penguins would trade Rutger McGroarty, but Rutger McGroarty is a little bit younger, has a worse track record. I think if the Penguins did him in like a 2nd, that would get it done, or him in a 3rd, maybe even. Because Shane Wright, even though he's the same age, like, were they picked in the same draft? No, I think Wright was picked the year before. No, they were picked in the same draft. But even though they were picked in the same draft, it feels like Wright's been around forever and he's a finished product. But McGroarty is more of a work in progress. McGroarty is a touch younger, like a couple months. But I think they move him. I think they move him and get some bleh prospect. Call Washington the weirdest team when the Kraken employs Chandler Stevenson and are in a playoff spot. I don't know how he keeps doing it. I don't know how Chandler Stevenson keeps doing it, because he is not very good. Habs want Robert Thomas, but Arpon believes he is a similar comp to Suzuki, and Kent Hughes just wants a big 2C that can score instead. I don't know. I think Robert Thomas would really be a good fit for them. I don't think he's all that similar to Nick Suzuki. Like, Suzuki's... The big selling point with Nick Suzuki is his two-way game. He's a great passer, don't get me wrong. He can create plenty. But Robert Thomas's passing ability is otherworldly. Like, he's one of the top 5 passers in the league. He would look so good on the Habs. Yeah, I agree. I think he's a great fit. I think Wright is like Griffin Reinhart, where teams overpaid for him. Because that'd be crazy. I think that. I hope that teams aren't that stupid. The rest of the league must stop from sending first-round picks to the Heroes of New Amsterdam if James Dolan in the straight shot ever butchers the national anthem. Yeah, Suzuki's a good playmaker with defensive capabilities, and it makes sense to have a 2C scorer, but you have Slavkovsky as a big man and Demidov as a scorer. That's true. I think Robert Thomas would be great. I think if you put... Like, Suzuki plays with Caulfield, obviously, and I'm not sure who else. I'll have to look at the Money Puck lines. I don't see a ton of Habs games, but... Lines. I was already on that page. Montreal. That's the thing too, is Oliver Kapanen's kind of emerged this year as a pretty good player. I think you'd probably like to put him down in a 3C role instead, but imagine if McDavid went to the Knights. Yeah, he goes to the Great Satan, the Vegas Golden Knights. Doc and Texier. Okay. Slavkovsky's on the second line. First right wing is what the Habs need short term. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Slavkovsky, most often Slavkovsky, Suzuki, Caulfield, but I mean, I'm sure they changed that around. It looks like they're splitting that pretty evenly with Caulfield, Suzuki, Bolduc, Texier, Suzuki, Caulfield. Yeah, their lines are in a bit of a blender right now. Playing Brendan Gallagher as a center sometimes, it looks like. That can't be true. Oh, yeah, and they added Phil Donnell. Boy, what happened to him? Panarin would have been good. Sure, yeah. Yeah, Reinbacher is still in the AHL, I believe. Who's their best line performance-wise? Texier, Suzuki, Caulfield. That's something that's interesting. That'll be something we'll touch on a little bit later, too. But he's going to be an interesting player to watch playing for Team France, because he is what they have. He's all they got. If they're going to win a game, because they don't have a goalie. Like, Italy has a second-round pick goalie. France does not. And they're going to ask a lot of Alexander Texier. And I think there's a good chance that he really dials up his stock here. Dano's been as advertised, good defensive center that can win faceoffs. Yeah. He's the problem with Dano at this point in his career is he's a bit of an offensive black hole. I gotta control F here. Dano. Yeah, that's not ideal. The lines that he's playing on, him with Gallagher and Anderson are getting their teeth kicked in. I accidentally sent that to the calculator. And him and Bolduc and Gallagher are getting their teeth kicked in a little bit less. And that's not really expected goals against a 4 per 60. Small sample size. Really small sample size, but that's not at all what you want from Phil. But I mean, this doesn't factor in his penalty killing, and he's always been a good penalty killer. I'm sure he brings a lot of value in that degree, and he's getting a decent actual goal share with that Gallagher Anderson line. So 4 goals, only 2 goals against, 3.13 and 1.57 per 60. That's not bad. And the sample size is so small that expected goals are not extremely impactful. QA needs to come out of retirement. Yeah, absolutely. Bring him out. Bring out Cristobal QA. Don't forget about old ass Pierre-Edouard Bellemare. He is playing in the French league. Fartemi Panarin. Yeah, I can't believe they wrote a letter. I can't believe they wrote a second letter phrased almost exactly the same. I cannot believe it. Just truly absurd. The Rangers are lucky that James Dolan doesn't care more about hockey, because the way he runs the Knicks is bad, of course. If he was as hands-on with the Rangers, that would be frightening. We talked a bit about Robert Thomas. Like I said, I think Montreal is a great fit, like you guys proposed. I think he's a heck of a player. I love Robert Thomas's game. He plays with a lot of speed. He's a truly otherworldly passer. We'll have to. Let's go to hockeystats.com. Let's do we want the tracking. The microstat cards, because his is one of those that like pops off the page. This is from last season, but yeah. Primary assists, 99th percentile. Chance assists, 100th. Primary shot assists, 96th. Rush shot assists, 94th. High danger passes, 98th. Chance contributions, 96th. Rush offense, 80th. This is a guy who is just an otherworldly passer. He can create. How long am I going to be here for? I don't know. A few hours usually. Thomas might be an Olympian in 4 years. Yeah. Maybe could have maybe been one this year. I don't know. Is he... I think he is better in a vacuum than Seth Jarvis. He doesn't do what Seth Jarvis can do. But that is math, yes. He seems a bit stingy with trades. Yeah. St. Louis doesn't have any other guys on the level of Thomas. They have Kyrou still. Jordan Kyrou is a great player. Little bit of a down year for him too, but he was quite good for a long run, and he helped drag them into the playoffs last year. Maybe one of the worst things that could have happened to them was Jim Montgomery taking over and convincing them they were a little bit better than they were. But they're still kind of young. They're young mixed with very old. They're slightly under average age, but their core is still not old. Like, Jake Neighbors is going to be a good player. Jimmy Snuggerud is going to be a good player. Broberg's only 24. Holloway's only 24. I don't know if you're them if you do move Robert Thomas. Can you move someone else? Is he a pending free agent, Robert Thomas? No, 2031 at 8.125. I think they hold on to Robert Thomas. I think that's my opinion. That's fair. Logan Mailloux has been impressively bad. Boy. That guy should be on the Vegas Golden Knights. If you know, you know. He probably should have been an Olympian this year. Yeah. I think he would have made it better if the Blues had anybody who could score consistently. That is the problem with Kyrou, is he can sometimes score a lot and he can sometimes score not. Old decor. Hofer has gotten better. we'll talk about this gentleman in a little bit. Mr. 864. 864. 864. And that what do you do? What do you do with that? You can't do anything with that. G-Sax. Fart sound. Stinky. He's down with Sam Ersson, who, God bless that guy. That poor guy, they keep making him start. At least they have Vladar now. So, and Vladar's been pretty good. Yeah, he's all the way up here. Yeah, he's with the Senators goalies who famously tanked them. Bobrovsky, who's famously tanked the Panther. This is our goalie from 5 and up. Saros, I'm not as pressed about. But from here up, it's our goalie, Sunkus, Ragin, and Sam Ersson. But they should not do anything trade-related. Maybe sell Eller. Where's Eller on? Sen should buy or sell. Yeah, I think you just trade the like expiring contract type guys. Blake Coleman is always a good ad for basically anyone. He's 2027 UFA, so he's signed for next year at 4.9. It's probably a little high, but it's not bad. However, the Flames aren't sure they're ready to part with him. Get a grip. Get a grip if you're Calgary. Come on. 41-year-old Halak over Bennington. Yeah. Sends goaltending to of doom and despair. Those poor guys. Levi Miralainen and poor Linus Ullmark. Linus Ullmark had to get... He stunk so bad, and then he got defamed. Like, that poor dude. Yeah, Bobrovsky's been really bad. Bobrovsky's been really bad for most of the time he's been in Florida, other than the playoff runs, and even those, sometimes he wasn't that good. The guy's played a lot of hockey, and he's very old. It's probably curtains. Vegas goalie's also saying, yeah. Another one of them's an Olympian, but he's at least going to start for his country for a reason. Basically, any contender I could see trading for Blake Coleman. I think that'd be perfectly fine. I could see the Lightning bringing him back. What are the Lightning working with right now as far as their lines? Because they're hurt. They're beat up. They need this Olympic break. They need a break for Braden Point because he's clearly hurt. They get Kucherov to get a little time off, even though he's red hot. Yeah. Darren Radish is crazy. Maybe he should have made the Canadian Olympic team. Gergensen's Gord Holmberg. Hagel, Sorelli, Kucherov is a machine. Gensel, Point, and somebody else. Yeah, if you get Blake Coleman and you throw him into that mix... You move Gage Goncalves down. You mix in... Yeah, because it kind of looks like they're playing Bjorkstrand in like more of a bottom 6, middle 6 role. I think they could use one more top 9 winger from what I can see here, just with a cursory look. Why not bring Blake Coleman back? I think... I don't know what they have to trade. They can't possibly have much. But Vasilevsky's been unbelievable. Shout out to him. Schmid's been okay. Yes, he's been perfectly fine. It did begin with Alex Lyon. People forget that Alex Lyon was starting over Sergei Bobrovsky in that first... In the 2020 The year they beat Boston, the year they upset that great Boston team, 2023. Dougie. I've long been a Dougie fan, but if he's not scoring, you kind of need Dougie to be putting up points. That's kind of his whole deal. The Puggy. That's not going to cut it. These past 2 years, and he's hurt all the time. The guy is always hurt. 74 points in 2023. Still only 32 years old. Always been a guy who's had great underlying numbers. This is again from last season, but yeah, shots and chances. He drives a lot of offense. He can't defend anymore. He always used to be able to defend a lot more than people gave him credit for. The Devils did pay him $9 million. The Devils paid a lot of people a little too much money. Hamilton's been much better lately. What's cap space around the league looking like? Oh, my buddy's playing Rocksmith. Puckpedia. I was trying to look up the Olympic lines because I know they're out there, but I could not find a nice write-up of them. Puckpedia teams. Oh. Okay, Vegas has no cap space. They have a project. Oh, they have some. Oh yeah, because Pietrangelo is in a. He's in a stasis pod. Except they can't bring him back this year. Yeah, McNabb's done. Like, I think... Oh, okay. No. Okay, so Selter. That's the season-ending LTIR. Okay. Hamilton for Riley, 1-for-1. That'd be so funny. That'd be kind of fun. I'd like Dougie Hamilton on the Leafs. Another boomer. How many people on this page here have some sort of allegation against them, be it racism or otherwise? Well, I guess Brett Howden. Brett Howden's just a dork. Anyhow. And Trevor Conley's not on the team yet. Pietrangelo's done for the year. Okay. The only thing the Leafs don't have is much assets. Yeah. And Riley wouldn't waive. I think Riley is there to stay. Well, look at this playoff projected space. Boy, the Devils suck. I'd be interested to see what a team like the Islanders add. Because they could... They added Carson Soucy already. He's a very solid defender. And the emergence of Matthew Schaefer, you kind of have to act. Andre Palat, boy, he stinks. He's been not good at all. But they got some picks for him. I'm interested. I think they probably add something. Because you have to act while you have a young star on an entry-level deal. You just talk about between Cliff Fletcher, the coach, Doug Gilmour, and Dave Ellett, but it's the current. Yeah, Looking forward to the Edmonton versus Buffalo Stanley Cup final. Boy, that'd be a blast. What it was supposed to be in 2006. I can't even say that. That Edmonton team shouldn't have been there, but boy, Buffalo should have. But. Yeah, there's just so much cap space this year. Penguins have $34 million and projected playoff cap space of $30 million. In the Red Wings, too, just so much cap space. They have so much. Boy, that would make sense for them. Too bad they signed Sherratt to this stupid deal. It plays. Boy, I could see Dougie going to them. I think that'd be fun. 2022 is gone, Brad. Yeah, they have to do something. Yeah, I'd kind of like to see Dougie on the Red Wings. I think that'd be a fun fit. What's ASP doing this year? He's been pretty good. Sider and Edvinsson, of course. And then Sherratt. And then Gustafsson, but he's only played 2 games. And then ASP. Yeah, I think you can upgrade on Travis Hamonic or Jacob Bernard Docker or Albert Johansson. Like, I don't know. Sherratt's vibes per 60. His punching per 60. The Leafs hate players who are twink coat. Yeah. Yeah, they like old time hockey fellas. They like Austin Matthews. He looks like you could smoke a cigar with him. Red Wings. I'll start throwing out random teams that I think would be fun for them to go on. Red Wings. Pick up Dougie. I don't know. Would Dougie work well as a bottom pairing guy? He'd be a spectacular bottom pairing guy. If you used him like Carolina uses Gostisbehere and just brought him out as like a specialist that can also is a solid even strength guy, I think that'd not be bad at all. Would you rather have Sherratt or Ceci? Cody Ceci is the realest guy I know because he was good for exactly one time in his career, and it was the single year he was with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So shout out to Cody Ceci for that. That's loyalty. But yeah, I don't utterly hate Cody Ceci as much as some people do, but they stink. They're both quite bad. Sherratt can skate. That is something. But Luke Schenn, why would you? What competitor is in on Luke Schenn? They have his market value as league min. That's no good. He may not return the same value. Yeah, Winnipeg dealt a second and a fourth for him. I thought that was insane last year when he was playing decently. If I was a competing, yep. If I was a competing team, no, don't do it. Not a good decision. Travis Hamonic to reclaim their top 5 protected pick. That'd be funny. Hughes trading Line A for Jesperi Kotkaniemi to kickstart the 2021 Canadiens reunion. Sure. Why not? Take 2 guys who are not working. Maybe a team who wants a third line center. But yeah. 5th rounder, 7th defenseman, Stars would take him. Isn't the Stars defense kind of horrible depth-wise? Yeah, because they have Heiskanen and Lindell and Harley. Hooray! And then they have Nils Lundqvist, Ilya Lyubushkin. They've played Alex Petrovic for 50 games. Okay, yeah, okay. The I do think for a 5th, the Stars would would take Luke Shen. I don't think that's necessarily a good thing, but I do think they would take him. Leon Bischel's coming back. He can play a little bit. He's young, at least. Yeah, I think the Stars probably make sense. I'm starting to think that guy in Nashville doesn't know what he's doing. So there's a reason he did a press conference and said, "I'm sorry, I'm bad at this," and quit. Isn't he scratched on the terrible Jets? Probably. The Jets at least have some defensive depth. I saw somebody, I don't think he's on the big board, but I saw someone post that one of the people they want the most for the Penguins was Logan Stanley. And I was doing the SpongeBob meep waving my hands like, do not do this. Please do not do this. Hey, Chef Matt, how's it going? I love Novak very much. Novak's refound himself this year. He's been quite good. That is absolutely true. Barry Trotz being able to acknowledge the fact that he's not good at his job and quit. Not many out there would do that. I've said it before, but Jim Benning, he never said, "I suck at this," and quit. Would he be a better coach than Brunette? Probably, yeah. Logan Stanley. Yeah, Logan Stanley. Not good. And also, everybody's like, "Oh, he's pretty young." No, he's not. He's older than me. That's not good. And I am like, boy. I'm starting to look back and be like, boy, I wish I did some shit differently. Logan Stanley is older than a guy who's like, man, if only I'd like spoken to more people in college, I might have more friends right now. Not that I don't have friends, don't worry about me, but you know, if only I had done X, Y, and Z differently. And this guy is older than me. But because he's the height that he is, that I won't say, and he is 231 pounds, everybody's like, yes, he rocks. He has 9 goals this year. But then look at 1. Don't do it. Don't bite. Do not bite on Logan Stanley. Yeah, the first overall pick last year was my age. It gets worse, brother. We are your friends. Thank you, my friend. It's good to have people who give a crap about what I have to say. It is nice. Tuesdays are funny for me because I go to my therapist and talk about my problems, and then I come on and stream about hockey. So I do a lot of yapping on Tuesdays, but everyone just wants his bot. It's true. They're objectifying Logan Stanley. Nazem Kadri. However, Kadri plays a premium position, has a lot left to offer. Has too much on it, his contract too big. But not that too big. Too long. Contract too long. What is that, 4 more years? The rest of this year, and then to 2027, 2028, 2029. 3 more years after this? There's nobody. Is there anybody good out here? Thought Stanley played well in 2021 in the Canadian division. Yeah. The Canadian division, one of the most Mickey Mouse things in the history of the NHL was the 2021 Canadian division. They really let the Canadians come out of there. That team was awful. And somehow they made the cup final, but yeah, no thanks on term. Kenny Albert on the mic. I don't mind Kenny Albert. He says, score! Kind of like that. I don't... Score! He has a very deep voice. Hey, Kenny Albert. Kenny Albert here. That's my Kenny Albert. It needs some work. I'll take it to the shop. No thanks on Nazem Kadri. Too much term. I don't think he is movable right now. Even at 50% retained, maybe somebody bites, but I don't know. No thanks. Habs won the Western Conference that year. They did. They did. They did win that. I think they beat Vegas in the conference final. Is that right? Yeah, and like kind of emphatically. Thanks to this gentleman here. Boy, that was a lot of overtime games. 3 overtimes in 6 games. And this was pre... Is there any Mark... Oh, of course there isn't. I'm looking at Montreal. There's Markstown. Oh, it's the Stone, Pacioretty, Marchessault, Theodore, Carlson. Okay. Did they have good goaltending in this series? No. There it is. They switched to Lehner. Was this the Fleury wins the career achievement Vezina year? Yes. Yeah, Fleury wins the career achievement Vezina year. He was awesome that year, but Fleury wins the Vezina and then is kind of in the playoffs. But Habs legend Eric Stahl. Yeah. Robert Thomas for Wallstead. Robert Thomas for Wallstead. I don't think I think the Wild are still in on Wallstead. Yeah, he won it in a shortened season. Boy. That wouldn't be the worst move. I don't know which side would have to give up more. Jesper Wallstedt or Robert Thomas. But you put an elite passer with the guys that the Wild have. Do the Wild have cap space? Like, I know everybody kind of has cap space. Do the Wild? Yeah, they could fit Robert Thomas. Sure. That's still Parise and Suter, isn't it? Or no, that's the other. It's the other buyout. No, it's still Parise and Suter. It's still them. St. Louis should keep Robert Thomas. They should, probably. I think that would make sense. Vezina level half seasons? Yeah, absolutely. Wallstead would be great for Edmonton. Edmonton, unfortunately, has no assets that they don't need currently. Like, everybody... Like, I don't think Ike Howard gets it done. Because is that their best prospect? Isaac Howard? Yeah, who do they have who's young? Yeah, Ike, Savoy, and then you get to like your Podkolzins. I do not know Connor Clattenburg. Yeah, they just have no assets. Kaprizov, Eric Sinek, Zook, and then Johansson, Thomas, Boldy. That'd be pretty fun. Yeah, Edmonton did do that. Yeah. I don't know. Jack Rosselvic having another nice season for a guy who didn't get signed until like October 9th. Charlie Coyle, super basic utility guy. That's the face of the trade deadline is Charlie Coyle. Absolutely no problem. He is totally, I'd say, perfectly solid, meaningful addition to your third line. Charlie Coyle, one of the most third line centers that's ever existed. Like Howard, David Lewandowski, Nathan Day. That's tough. That's not good. Yeah, I think Eck would match better with Boley. Thomas probably doesn't get traded. I do think that's true. Ultimately, I don't think Thomas would get traded, but I guess I could log into Peacock here. Peacock. Guess I gotta put this in a different box. Okay, cool. So then I can have it up and comment on it without it getting the channel taken down. I didn't watch the Royal Rumble this year. That's why I have Peacock. I'm just kind of out on wrestling right now. No shade, but just kind of don't have it in me. I don't have it in me anymore. I'll mute the broadcast as well. I'm watching Reggie Miller and Spike Lee talk about it. Oh, there goes Ilya. Doing a little spin. Yeah, I could see them keeping Coyle. Sticking around. If the U.S. wins gold, does Britta Curl get a one-on-one with Trump? I could see that. Anyway, I'll have that on in the background. Just don't get it from St. Louis's perspective, but hey, Doug Armstrong can do his thing. I do think they won't trade him. I don't think it makes sense for their timeline right now. I think they kind of have to do a retool. He's scoring a lot more than he usually does. What is his production looking like? $15 goals in 42 games, 15 goals in 56 games, 42 points. That's not bad. It's like his Boston numbers or his early Minnesota numbers. For a guy that you play like second/third minute lines, he plays a little bit on the power play. He can play some defense. He'd be a good get for any team that would get him. I just, like you said, I don't know if Columbus has convinced themselves that they're still in it, but maybe. Jesperi Kotkaniemi. Boy, there is just it's a lot of not interesting players. Like Kotkaniemi could bounce back, but I'd not be interested in him really at all, especially if I was a contender. Cuz he's not getting in Carolina's lineup. Like, no thanks. Like, is Michael Bunting doing anything this year? I like Michael Bunting. Is he scoring at all? $12 goals, 30 points. It's going to come close to 20 goals again. This guy scores 19 goals a lot. I don't know. I don't dislike Michael Bunting. I think he's a pretty solid player. But he kind of has to play with your best player to bring you very much value. He's mostly an offensive force. But and the trade market is mid, and 28 teams think they're good enough not to sell. That's certainly true, and a lot of teams have space to bring in. So there will be overpays for some of these guys. Like Connor Murphy, he's going to get at least a second, I would think, if not more. And he's the most whatever defensive defenseman out there. Logan Stanley is going to get something because he's going to cash in this summer. He's going to be worth... They think he's getting 5 times 5, huh? That's crazy. I wouldn't want to be the person who pays him that. Bunting is not good as a second liner with Haula and Stamkos. Yeah, he's okay. I don't love Michael Bunting as like a big ad for a contender. I think if you're like one of those whatever teams in the middle of the Eastern Conference, like if you're like a Columbus and you've decided that you are going to add, I think somebody like Bunting could be helpful to you, but I don't know. Bobby McMahon is one of the better options. Yeah, Bobby McMahon's pretty good. He's cheap, works cheap, puts up some points, scores some goals, knows how to play with good players, and he's heating up at the perfect time. 3 goals in his last 5. I'd roll the dice on Bobby McMahon. I don't think that's that high a risk. Can the Leafs get a first for him? Maybe. If the market swings right, I could see him. I think he's another guy that gets you at least a second, maybe a second and a roster player the other team doesn't want. But let's go US. That's right. Lots of Oilers Leafs talk lately. Yeah. Andrew Mangiapane. He did score 35 goals. He really did. That could be, if the Oilers had their second round pick, I could see, like Andrew Mangiapane is the type of guy that would go back to Toronto in a McMahon trade. Like Toronto takes on Mangiapane and sees if they can fix him, and then tries to. McMahon is a better player, and he's paid a lot less. So you give a guy like Mangiapane, I'm not saying him necessarily, but a guy like him and a second round pick for Bobby McMahon, or a guy like him and a second and a third for Bobby McMahon. I don't know. You're getting Andrew Mangiapane and you'll like it. I loved his game. America scored. Here we go. Gotta bring up the other thing. Oh, I'm behind. Am I behind live time? I am behind. Bring me up to the modern day. I'm just trying to see this goal. Okay, now I'm watching. There's Hillary Knight. Okay, so a set face-off play. That's a really nice set face-off play. Yeah, because it's set play, a face-off play, it goes back to the defenseman and then back to the other defenseman who whips it in. I like that. I like that a lot. Some NHL team should do that. Kind of a weird shot, but anyway. Boone Jenner. I don't think they trade their captain. He isn't on an expiring contract, but where is Columbus at in the standings officially? Fourth in the Metro. That's what, first wild card? Second wild card? Yeah, they're ahead of Oh no, it's currently out, and by a kind of decent margin. Their best bet is to run down the Islanders. They have the games in hand to do it, and they're hotter than the Islanders are. I don't know. I'm not sold on the CBJ. I don't know. Maybe they should sell. Maybe they should sell at least one of Coyle or Jenner. I don't know. They are on a heater. The Atlantic is dead. Yeah, the Atlantic has all the good teams. Except for the Hurricanes. The Atlantic has like three teams that are legitimately playing quite well. The Metro is a good team. There's only two real, at this point in the season, real contenders in the whole Eastern Conference. And it's Tampa and Carolina. Now, will Carolina make a cup final? And Tampa looked close to this good last year. They didn't really do anything with that. But it's weird because the Leafs their goose is cooked. Senators' goose is cooked. Panthers cooked. Devils cooked. Like, Rangers, of course, cooked. Boy, the Rangers they are really in the cellar, huh? They're going to win the draft lottery, aren't they? Oh, did the U.S. just score again? They did. The U.S. did just score again. Wow. Oh, wait. I don't know. It's hard for me to follow the stream, but Tampa's better than Carolina. Maybe if they had a player like Gensel. Yeah. Ha ha ha. Tee. Take that, Carolina. Ilya Mikheyev, a perfectly serviceable guy. He's all right. He definitely will be moved, but to where and for how much, I couldn't tell you. They put Jonathan Marchessault on the board. No thanks. No thanks on Jonathan Marchessault. I don't want that contract until 2029. When he's, what? He's 35 going into 2026, 36, 37. He's 38 years old when it expires. Bah, no thanks. Mikheyev for a third? Sure. Best PK in the league, and he's the primary reason. Sign him for 2 years. He can help Moore and Nazar play more consistent defense. Maybe. I think you probably strike when the iron's hot. But eventually you do have to start keeping good players. Jordan Kyrou. They healthy scratched him? Man. I'd take him. If I was a team with a load of cap space, like, again, Detroit doesn't need him, and that's not really a great fit. But one of those loads of cap space teams, like, I think the Penguins, there's a little bit of talk that if the Stars move on from Jason Robertson, that the Penguins would be interested. I think it would be easier to obtain a Jordan Kyrou. Now, does he have the higher end that someone like Robertson does? Absolutely not. But the pace that he plays at and what he could bring for very cheap, sure. Yeah, I don't know. Buffalo and Tampa are scary. Habs and Detroit are more fraudulent. Yeah, probably. Rather have Ruff over Martin St. Louis as a coach. That would have gotten you run out of town a few months ago. We're getting pretty low here. Andrew Peak. I don't have a ton to say about Andrew Peak. I'm sorry. Justin Falk, another like dump. Again, he signed for next year. Everybody has so much money. Line A is at least an expiring contract. Sure. Somebody will take him. I think Carolina's a good fit for him. Nobody will ever take Elias Pettersson. No chance. That contract is ridiculous, and I don't think he's getting any better. Steven Stamkos, no, don't do it. Don't bite on the fact that he's randomly scoring goals. Don't bite. Now, as a fan, I would like them to add Steven. Like, I would like Steven Stamkos to get moved as like a fan, because he's entertaining. He's fun. And he's a Hall of Fame bound guy. Like, I would like him to play on a relevant team. But I'm not sure it would be a smart move for whatever team takes him on. And he's expiring. It's 2 years from now. I think next year of that contract could be scary. Because he's been close to earning it this year because his offense is back and his finishing's back. But, yeah, I don't know. Braden Schneider's another one of those young guys that has fallen out of step with his team. Boy, that's who the friggin' Kraken are gonna trade for Shane Wright. Like, that's who they're gonna get. But that they're gonna get a Braden Schneider type. Simone Benoit. Who? He's. Do you want left-handed, smaller, worse Luke Shin? I mean, he's mean. He's very physical. That's very nice. But he's a scratch on Toronto. He's going to get inexplicably moved for way more than we think that he should, I think. They gave up Connor Timmins last year and kept Simone Benoit. They had to give up Connor Timmins for basically nothing. I don't know if they get anything for Simone Benoit. Is Jason Dickinson doing anything this year? They paid him a lot of money. No, he is not doing anything. Yeah, Line does not drive any offense. He just blasts it. Dickinson for a third sounds about right. Yeah. Is that contract expiring? Yeah. Okay, sure. Yeah, I'd take you. You retain half of Jason Dickinson, and I give you a third and a fifth. I'm not mad about that at all. I think he's a perfectly serviceable bottom six guy who has some history of putting up a little bit of offense. Like, I think if he has different line mates than he has in Chicago, who's he playing with in Chicago? Oh, Donato and Mikheyev a little bit. Yeah, Donato and Mikheyev primarily. That's a pretty good line. I think I would like him to produce a little bit more on a line like that, but yeah, I'd take Jason Dickinson. I'd throw him on my fourth line or whatever. Oh, Yeller McCabe. I love Jake McCabe. I think he's a heck of a player. Dickinson had a Selke vote. Good for him. Good for Jason Dickinson, man. And he has, these are plus 1.8 on the Athletic Dom Luszczyszyn's model. That's a very good defensive score for a forward. So shout out to him. Alex Tuch, no chance he gets moved right now. Now, are they going to pay him the 10 or whatever he wants to stay? Probably also no chance. Hi, Mr. Lasagna. Oh, McCabe can only play with Tanev? That's too bad. Send him back to Buffalo. Jordan Bennington. No thank you. No thank you. No thank you. No thank you. No, I'm not interested. Thank you for offering. No thank you. I don't think the Penguins move on from Brett Kulak unless it's to obtain somebody else. They're playing too well right now. We'll see how they are coming out of the Olympic break. But he brings a lot of stability to their left side with Wotherspoon, who has been a revelation for that team. Ryan Shea, who has really stepped up as a legitimate top four guy. And then Kulak. They're quite solid on the left side of their defense. And if you trade him, that means you're playing Ryan Graves instead. And I don't think they're really interested in doing that. What do you want the Pens to do? They should conservatively buy, I would think, unless they're getting somebody with term. Like if they really want to go and get Jason Robertson, I wouldn't blame them. If they really want to like gamble on somebody like Jordan Kyrou, I think that'd be good. I don't want I don't want a Blake Coleman, really. I don't want a Vince Trocheck. Like, that doesn't make sense for the team. Like, Dougie doesn't make sense for the team. Charlie Coyle, same deal. I would much prefer them either buy really cheap, like let's see if there's anybody especially interesting. That's a lot of contract for Jake DeBrusk, huh? I'm trying to picture a like defenseman. Like if they get a Braden Schneider would fit well with them, but he's a righty. They don't have they could probably use a bottom pair righty. Yeah, Pittsburgh has become the pulling random defenseman out of nowhere. Tuck wants too much and grew up in Syracuse, so maybe. Yeah, we'll see. Sharks don't have NHL defense. Yeah. Their defense is not good. Their defense is not good at all. And I don't know what happened to Mario Ferraro. He used to be driving that team. He's minute munching. That's not the biggest compliment for a guy like him. Shot blocking, that also means he doesn't have the puck. I don't know, maybe in a better situation, but he's a third pairing guy at best on a good team. Warren Fogle for the Penguins bottom six? Sure, yeah, I'd like that. I think Warren Fogle's fine. Like I think they probably, from everything that I've read, are going to go for a very cheap right shot defenseman. like Andrew Peak, which I don't know if I don't see why Boston would move him necessarily. But yeah, like an Andrew Peak, like a Braden Schneider. But even a Mario Ferrero, honestly. But he's a left shot. I don't think they would add him. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. But somebody who's overpaid and plays the right side that they can obtain for not very much, sure. Yeah, Orlov ain't what he used to be. Oilers legend John Klingberg. Shout out to John Klingberg. Connor Garland, immovable contract. Thank you. He's small and mean and can produce a little bit. Too much money. Too much money. Braden Shen, too much money. And also their captain, I don't know. With still some term left, I don't think that would make a whole lot of sense to move him right now. Brennan Othman. What is wrong with the Rangers development system, man? Their system's stocked with wingers. Okay, so they're going to trade Othman for what? Another 23-year-old winger that they ruined, and they're going to trade him for crap, and he's going to be okay somewhere else. I don't know. A gently used Cody Ceci. Yeah, Jaden Schwartz. He's still on the Kraken, huh? Jordan Eberle and Eeli Tolvanen. They're in a playoff spot. They're too stupid. They are too stupid. The Kraken are too dumb to do anything like that. To make a forward-thinking move and move him off of their team. It would be very funny if the Kings run down the Kraken and knock them out of the... Now that they have Panarin, knock them out of the playoffs. And they didn't do anything at the trade deadline. They didn't move Jaden Schwartz or Jordan Eberle or Eeli Tolvanen. They are so poorly run. David Kampf. If the Penguins needed a fourth liner, David Kampf is a fourth liner. Arvid Soderblom. Yeah, I'm good on Arvid. I'll take Elmer instead. I'll take the big one. Seattle is Grubauer, Hart, and that, I'll tell you, I'm not going to say that's super sustainable, I'll tell you. Jake DeBrusk, movable contract, and Ryan O'Reilly. Sure. I think a team can take a shot on Ryan O'Reilly. Boy, the analytics still love him, even though he says he sucks. Boy. Yeah, I'd take a gently used Ryan O'Reilly. What's he putting up point-wise this year? He's a point per game? He's a point per game. Why is he so low on... What's the deal with him? He doesn't have a no move, but the Predators will treat him as though he does. That means they won't be trading their top center anywhere unless he's willing to go. O'Reilly is an excellent two-way center who can be counted on to chip in offensively. He's, again, a point per game, and has the ability to be a true difference maker for a contender. As an added bonus, he's a beast in the face-off circle. Where this goes will depend heavily on if Nashville can remain in the playoff race until the deadline. Nashville, you need to listen to me. Move the man. Move Ryan O'Reilly. Move him now. You have to do it. You have to do it. Yeah, he has a handshake, no trade clause. Why? And you're telling me he doesn't want to go anywhere? I know he didn't like his time in Toronto and ran screaming out of the room whenever they got knocked out of the playoffs. No, man. You got to move him. You have to move him. Surely he wants to go somewhere. The guy can't like Nashville that much. You're telling me, Barry, I'm speaking directly to you, Barry. Where's an undesirable location? To Buffalo. If Buffalo comes up to you, boy, that'd be funny, because Ryan O'Reilly back in Buffalo. But in a vacuum, Buffalo comes up to you. They say, here, take this young man, Noah Ostland, and take a second-round pick or a first-round pick, or take Yuri Kulik and a first-round pick. Pull the trigger. Pull the trigger, man. I don't care. I know that Roar is going to be like, oh, I don't want to go back to where I last hit a Tim Hortons. Please, for the good of your team, Barry, you gotta move this guy. He is good. He is your best asset, and your team is awful, and he is underpaid significantly for what he brings to the table right now. Where are you going to get a guy signed through next year for $4.5 million that can play defense and is scoring at a point per game pace? Nowhere. This is the only guy on this entire list other than... In Artemi Panarin, not underpaid, not a 4-point-whatever million guy. Like, Roar is better than Vince Trocheck and makes less money. And the guy, talk about intangibles, he won a Conn Smythe. Yeah, America scored. Good for them. You have to find a place to move Ryan O'Reilly now. Because you do not know if next year it's gonna all work out. Maybe. Would Nadeau in a first get it done? I would say so. I'd say that's a perfectly reasonable price for Ryan O'Reilly right now. Because Bradley Nadeau's still a prospect that's pretty highly thought of, even if he's he's still only almost 20 years old. He's in his age 20 season. Like, he's a good prospect. You give them a first and the 20, like Bradley Nadeau and the 28th overall pick. I'm happy as a clam if I'm Barry Trotz. I think that's a perfectly reasonable move. New York players ending up in Southern California. I think a little bit of that is, well, Artemi Panarin is a big city guy. He likes to be in the big city. He was in Chicago in the big city. Then he was in Columbus and ran screaming out of the room. And then he was in New York and he loved it. And then now he's in Los Angeles and he there are guys who like to live in different settings. And if you get to live in a gigantic city where, one, you aren't the big game in town, like, you are not going to get the media criticism that you would get in New York or Toronto or Chicago. You just will not get the negative attention that you would get somewhere like that. For somebody like Artemi Panarin, who has brought some negative attention on himself, you kind of look for that kind of thing. And also then you're in the warm, and it seems like, I don't know, man, Russians like to play in the southern US. Like they grew up cold. They're done being cold, I guess. I don't know. Jack Ivankovic plays for Nashville. He's a college goalie, isn't he? Nashville's development system is just as bad as the Rangers, so they would probably ruin him. But right idea. Yeah. I'm really unsure what the strat was with Team Canada going with much older players. On the women's side? Yeah, I'm not. Like I said, I know so little about women's hockey. All right, I have to pee. So I am going to go to the bathroom, and I will come back. Yeah, he plays for Michigan. Okay. I'm going to go to the bathroom, and I will come back, and we will talk some Olympics. Men's Olympics, specifically. But all right. I'll be back. Give me 2 seconds. I don't know. I don't have an I'll be back screen on my OBS. Okay. I took myself off the screen. I don't know. We'll put I'm gonna Google BRB. No, not B&B. There we go. That's perfect. Be right back. Okay, we back in this. I'm back. There we go. Okay. I I gotta bring up the chat here once again. Okay. Here we are. Sorry to anyone who stopped in when I was okay. So the Jack Ivankovic, yeah, sponsored by BRB. That's right, Banco de Brasilia. It is kind of crazy that that's like the second result. I guess it's probably big in Brazil. 55 años. Milhos. Okay. So let's talk about the Olympics. We'll just go alphabetically. We'll go Canada, Czechia, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Italy, Latvia, Slovakia, Sweden, Switzerland, US. Or maybe I should do it by ranking. I don't know. We're starting to nail out some lines. I'll see if I can find it. Because their lines were tweeted out. That this is not... The projected lines are wrong. The projected lines are wrong. There. Okay. Is this... Do you... Why? Why does nobody just have this written down? It is killing me. There. Okay. Celebrini. No. I don't want to search Celebrini. Okay. Celebrini, McDavid. Well, who chatted me? Celebrini, McDavid, Wilson is the top line. Do it by rank. Okay, we'll go. Mike dead. No chance. No shot. It's still on, right? No! Hold on. How about now? I'm going to switch it back here in a second. But I must have clicked on something that... Hello? Hello? Okay. Is it back now? I'm gonna switch back to the other mic. Let me know if it still isn't working. Yeah, that one is that's the worst mic, but that's my emergency. It's my emergency mic. It's the mic that's just built into the webcam that I have. Still can't hear. I don't know. I think that's very strange. I don't know. I'm glad that some people can hear me. But okay. Well, working. Okay, cool. Well, glad that it's working now. But the top, we'll do it by rank, so we'll go Canada first. Stop making me search Celebrini. Okay. Macklin Celebrini, Connor McDavid, Tom Wilson. I like it. I like it a lot. I am so excited to see Macklin Celebrini in these Olympics. I think he is just an unbelievable player. I think he is a absolute force. Connor McDavid is Connor McDavid. We know Connor McDavid. The reply. I remember for a while in Chicago back in the day, Bob Probert played on the top line with Jamnov and Amante, and it worked well. Probert put up some numbers, and Wilson is more talented than Probert. I'll tell you. It is. He is. Tom Wilson, more talented than Bob Probert. I'll also tell you, Zhamnov and Amante, not Macklin Celebrini and Connor McDavid. I kind of like Tom Wilson with them. Tom Wilson can play with good players. That's why Gensel is playing with Matthews on Team USA. Like, Tom Wilson can play with good players. It is a terrible example. Tom Wilson can mash. He can go in there and forecheck. And Celebrini is a guy who's not afraid to get his hands dirty as a player. I think this line could be a lot of fun. I think it could be quite good, like better than you would expect. And you could see a lot of production from Tom Wilson. Yeah, I'll take McDavid. Well, it'd be McDavid over Zhamnov. It'd be Celebrini over Amante. But who could say? What are the responses to Alan Rule? Not saying it could work, but Wilson's more talented than Probert. It was a different game back then. Gretzky had a security guard winger. That is true. It works from a psychological point of view. Yeah. I guess if you're a Canadian boomer like this guy, I would assume is, my fellow YouTuber. If you're a Canadian boomer, like I'm assuming this guy is, like, you're probably under the impression that Team America is going to go out open carrying and gun down McDavid. That is not. I have a feeling that's not what's going to happen. Now, we'll talk about the U.S. team, but I don't think it's IIHF rules. If you do anything even remotely suspect, you are going to the penalty box. Like, Four Nations was not IIHF rules. IIHF calls a much tighter game than the NHL refs do. They call a lot of hits and a lot of stuff that you wouldn't expect to be penalties in regular NHL play. That does kind of make Wilson a liability a little bit. Wilson will create space off the rush. Wilson is an underrated rush asset. I think he can move when he gets the train rolling. He is not a slow guy at all. And I think he'll be able to keep up with Celebrini and McDavid. I think this will be a fun line. And then McKinnon with Marchand and Suzuki. Marchand and Suzuki is kind of an interesting fit with him. I would almost rather Marchand and Suzuki on the fourth line with Horvat, and then Hagel and Reinhart up with McKinnon. I'd like to see Hagel with McKinnon. And Reinhardt's a great ripper, a little bit like Marty Necas, but puck retrieval will be his value. The man can retrieve the puck. And so can Celebrini. Again, that guy can dig it out. But Marchand, I think, is kind of the weak link of this whole forward group, which isn't saying very much. It's an incredible forward group, but I think he's probably the weakest player here. And even he is smart enough at this point in his career that he can play with people who are, and he's not slow, so he can still keep up with his brain. But in Suzuki on the wing, yeah, I know they want Sid on the wing. I mean, not on the wing, as a center. This line, Crosby, Stone, Marner. So Sid this year has not been playing much defense for the last couple years. He's realized what the Penguins need from him is for him to go out and put points up, which is great. That's absolutely true. But he is capable of playing a more complete defensive game. I think him with Mark Stone and Mitch Marner, the two best defensive wings in the league, with Sidney Crosby who can play defensive game, That is a scary matchup line. Does it sound slow? A little bit, yeah. Any line with Mark Stone. And Mark Stone got exposed a little bit in Four Nations. He did not look like the dominator he is in the NHL because of the pace of play. It's similar to Adam Fox for the U.S., who ended up getting left off the team, where Mark Stone is a bad skater who is not fast. Crosby can still move. He's not the speed he once was, but he can still move. And Marner is quick. So I don't think it'll slow them down, but that is something to watch to see if they get blown out by pace of play a little bit. But if you turn it over, you're screwed. Yeah, a little bit, but I think they're a really good shutdown line. Horvat between Hagel and Reinhardt, I'm cool with. I think they're good. Interesting critique of Fox. I think Fox is a great player. I think he really struggled with the pace of play in Four Nations. He's not. When you look at the other elite defensemen in the league, you look at your Cale Makar, your Zach Werenski, your Quinn Hughes, and Adam Fox is in that tier with them, close. Like, he's a step down, but he's closer to that tier than he is to the next tier. Those are some of the best skaters in the league. Like, particularly Makar and Hughes are just otherworldly skaters. And Fox is not. Fox is an average skater. That's part of why he got drafted a little bit later. He's not particularly fast. He's a good defender. He is underrated, especially by Rangers fans. But he struggled with the pace at Four Nations, in my opinion. And then Bennett and Jarvis as extras. Sure, whatever. Thoughts on Jack Hughes on the fourth line with Miller and Nelson. I've seen Jack Hughes. I've seen also like Clayton Keller on that fourth line too. It looks like, we'll talk about the U.S. in a second, but it looks like they're only going to play one of Jack Hughes, one of Clayton Keller or Kyle Connor, which is probably the wrong decision, but we'll see. JT Miller should not play. Kind of, period. The decor for Canada worries you. Yeah, I will look at that here. Pierre, did you tweet out the decor for Canada at all? That's easier to just look at the full roster. Okay. I think how the pairs are working right now, from what because I listened to the Athletics Olympic preview this morning. Miller shouldn't be there. I agree. I listened to the Athletics Olympic preview this morning. I think it's Cale Makar, Devon Toews, Shea Theodore, Colton Parayko. I mean, not Shea Theodore. Josh Morrissey, Colton Parayko, and I think Harley Doughty is the bottom pair. The problem with Canada is the right side after Makar. And they're talking Sanheim too. As like a semi-regular. You're so happy with the Devon Toews Cale Makar pairing. Chychrun should have been there. Yeah, probably. You're so happy with the Devon Toews Cale Makar pairing. You cannot complain about that. And they're going to work them as a top pairing. The U.S., because of their defense depth, they don't really have to overwork anyone. They'll probably still play Quinn Hughes 25, 26 minutes a night. But Canada's going to play Cale Makar 26, 28 minutes, maybe even close to 30 in some games. They're going to play him a lot. They like Josh Morrissey on that second pair. What is he? Yeah, right. They like Josh Morrissey on the second pair. Colton Parayko's okay. Yeah, 45 minutes a game. That might be what they do. They're happy with Morrissey. They'll play Morrissey plenty. They'll play Parayko plenty. Then after that, like, I like Shea Theodore. I like Robert Harley. I'm not sold on Doughty. I'm not sold on Sanheim. And they get to dress 7. Like, it is the Olympics. They do get to dress 7. They don't have another. They don't really have another, like, who runs this is something the Athletic brought up this morning, is who runs their power play then if something happens to Cale Makar. Like, do they turn to Morrissey to run the power play? Because Shea Theodore doesn't run the power play. Because Drew Doughty doesn't run the power play right now. Do you turn to Thomas Harley? I think is maybe the next option that makes sense to run your power play, because he can bring some offensive oomph. But do they trust Thomas Harley to play? They should, but do they, is the question. I'm not so. Their defense is not as good as the US's. It's not really all that close. Now, the US's forward group is not as good as Canada's. And I'd say it's a bigger gap between Canada's forwards and the US forwards than it is between the... Well, no, I'd say it's about the same gap. Is Canada's forwards are... No, I'm going to stick with what I thought the first time. I think Canada's forwards are a little bit more better than the U.S. forwards, than the U.S.'s defense is better than Canada's defense. But man, is it close. Like, that's a similar gap between those two groups. But then there's Canada's goaltending. What wins better, D or forwards? I don't know. I don't know. But I think the deciding factor is going to be Canada's goaltending. Because what's Darcy Kemper doing this year? Because I don't hear him talked about at all as even getting a chance to start. Bad. Okay, he's a 900 goalie this year on a not good team. What's he looking like as far as goals saved? Fine. Better than Binnington, but they're gonna play Jordan Binnington. Kemper's been hurt. Right, okay. They're gonna play Binnington. As silly as it may seem, they are going to play Binnington. Like, Logan Thompson, good goalie, sound goalie, 912 is perfectly respectable. He should be their starter, and I think they're at least smart enough to keep a short leash on Binnington, but they're gonna play him. I heard, again, listening to The Athletic this morning, they're thinking about Binnington maybe gets the start against Czechia to start. And I think that's maybe the right decision. You can see if Binnington's hot or not. You can see what he can bring to the table, but they're going to play him. They are going to play him. Whether he should or not, they're going to play Jordan Binnington. Logan Thompson should have the job sewn up. He's much better than those other two goalies, but they're going to play Jordan Binnington because he won them that gold a few months ago. So I guess I guess that was last year, but yeah, I hope for Canada's sake that John Cooper's not that stupid. I am not sold. I'm not sold. I think Jordan Bennington is. I think there is a chance they play Jordan Bennington against Czechia, and he looks scary, like he has all season. But I'm not sure. We'll see. I like that Canada team. It's good. They made a lot of pretty good roster decisions. I don't think they did anything that I would consider extremely stupid. The U.S., on the other hand, well, come on, elite prospects. You can do it, old girl. Trying to click on anything on elite prospects. The cardinal sin. Come on. Give me the roster, please. Oh, here it goes. Here we go. Firing up Team USA. But quick, I think I can find their lines too. Is it hard not to root for Crosby? Yeah, kind of. Especially like with how Team USA has acted, like how buddy they are with our shitty president. Like, I think that's pretty uncool. Like, it would be, if I was not American, it would be so easy to not cheer for them. But yeah, it is kind of hard for me to not cheer for Sid, because I love Sid. But I will, of course, be rooting for the US of A. I am from here, so. But with some caveats. I guess it kind of curbs how sad I will. I'll still be crushed when they inevitably lose in the gold medal game, but you know, we'll see. First line: Brady Tkachuk, Jack Eichel. This is right. The AI is right for once in their lives. First line: Brady Tkachuk, Jack Eichel, Matthew Tkachuk. It's a good line, man. Is Matthew Tkachuk, is he fully healthy right now? Matthew Tkachuk? He's played a tiny bit, so you can't really tell. Because he was so beat up last year. And yet, in the playoffs with like one arm, he had 23 points. He's a good player, man. He's a good player. Him with Brady and Eichel, that you can match that up against anybody. Kind of bad timing in terms of Matthew Tkachuk's development. Like, I wish they got 100-point Tkachuk instead of point per game Tkachuk. But you know, we take what we can get. There's a lot of instances of kind of bad timing with this Team USA, but. All right, then second line, which I love, of Matt Boldy with Austin Matthews and Jake Gensel. I think Austin Matthews is a great player, but again, there's the bad timing as, like, Matthews, it hasn't been Austin Matthews this year. He wasn't really Austin Matthews last year. He's heating up a little bit, it looks like, but I don't know, man. If he's just, like, his numbers were still good. He's not been good since returning from injury. Oh, Hellebuck. Yeah. Matthews is sub-point per game. And, like, yes, I know the Leafs suck, but Nylander's not sub-point per game. Matthews has a lot of responsibility. He's a great defensive forward. For the U.S. to really have been this undeniable threat against Canada, they needed superstar Austin Matthews. I don't know how he was named captain. Yeah. Looked back in the horse 10-ish games before the break. Maybe he's just really focused on this tournament. I hope that is the case, because Austin Matthews at his peak, at his best, is one of my favorite players in the league to watch. He's unbelievable. His shot is electric. He is so good in his own zone. And he plays well with Jake Gensel. Jake Gensel was awesome at Four Nations. Matt Boldy was awesome at Four Nations, albeit on a different line. I think it is interesting to split off Jack Hughes from Matthews because they played together during Four Nations. Split off Jack Hughes, put him with Dylan Larkin, and then Tage gets the bump onto the third line. They list Jack Hughes as a center. He is not the center on this line. It'll be Dylan Larkin, I would assume. I do not think they'll play Jack as the center. Like, I like Jack a lot, but I don't think they'll play him as the center. I thought Dylan Larkin was the best I'd ever seen him play was at Four Nations. And I think he'll bring it once again here. And I think he could have been in the conversation as one of the captains on this team. I think it's cool that they gave it to Matthews. I'm fine with Matthews as the captain. But I could see Larkin as a member of the leadership group. Jack Hughes and Tage. Tage can utterly obliterate the puck. Putting him with a puck passer like Jack Hughes and a passer like a guy who can really run up and transition like these two. You just put it with a guy who can blast it like Tage. Like, that should work for you. Keller, Vinny, JT Miller. Brock Nelson's better than JT Miller, isn't he? At this point? Like, what's Brock up to this year? If you're gonna do this, if you're gonna do the fourth line shit, man, Brock Nelson having another pretty good year. He actually kind of deserves to be on this team. He should be in the lineup. He's better than JT Miller. At least this year, he's better than JT Miller. Like, his numbers are just better. Like, JT was good last year. He's not been this year. And Brock Nelson is better than Vincent Trocheck. Not Vincent Domfus. He's better than Vinny Trocheck. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing here? Nelson should be playing. I keep clicking on the wrong thing. Do Clayton Keller. Do, I don't know, Brock Nelson and Vincent Trocheck. What do you do with Kyle Connor then? Like, because a guy who could... I guess Kyle Connor's your 13th forward, you know? Most people would be better than Miller. Larkin should have been the captain. Yeah, maybe. Larkin's defensive game is better than Hughes. Yeah, he is. He's definitely the guy. He's the center. I think you go Keller, Trocheck, Nelson, Connor as your 13th forward. Saw Nelson on the fourth line at practice. I think that is true. I think this is wrong. Again, this is the AI summary, so it's junk. But, oh yeah, great job. AI's great. AI's doing a great job. They nailed it in one. They really got us here. They really got us. Adam Fox. Uh-huh. Great. Good job. But yeah, play Keller with Nelson and Trocheck and have Kyle Connor be your specialist. Babcock level arrogance. Yeah. Nobody thinks that Bill Guerin is quite as smart as Bill Guerin does. he's... Maybe it'll work, but I don't know. Someone like Nelson with Keller. Keller's a playmaker, someone on that line to shoot it. I think that's true. I think Brock Nelson would work well with Clayton Keller, but we'll see. I hope that's what they actually do. Defense pairings. This is where the U.S. makes up ground because of these two. They have two Norris, like elite caliber defensemen in Quinn Hughes and Zach Werenski. Quinn Hughes playing with McAvoy, that is correct. And Zach Werenski, I think they have him with Hanifin. They didn't list Hanifin here, but Zach Werenski's playing with Hanifin. And then Slavin and Faber, they have reunited. That is, if it does, it'll be because they could afford to be so wasteful in their selection process. Yeah, they should have never left Jason Robertson off this team. No question. But they did. Because Jake Gensel can play a checking role if you really want him to, but whatever, I guess. I would like them to find a way to put Jake Sanderson into the lineup, maybe over Hanifin, but I don't know. Is Werenski or Hanifin on their offside? I think it's Hanifin playing his offside, but I'm not positive. I think they would probably keep Werenski on his onside because they're both lefties, and Sullivan loves that Slavin Faber pairing, even though Faber is playing with Hughes in Minnesota right now. I am kind of surprised that those two aren't together, but I know that Sullivan loves that the Slaber pairing. But I think Jake Sanderson is better than Noah Hanifin. I don't think Noah Hanifin's bad at all. He's a great asset to have. And I think Jake Sanderson he'll be the seventh guy dressed, but we'll see. Yeah, that's crazy. Maybe check r/hockey for the lines. I wish there was an easier way. There was an article written about the U.S. team. Did Daily Faceoff write it? Yes. Okay, Daily Faceoff actually has it. But yeah, they have Werenski and they have Nelson. Okay, so they're doing Nelson, Miller, Hughes, Connor. Hughes isn't going to be on the fourth line. It would be more likely he was out of the lineup before he was on the fourth line, I would think. But I don't know. It seems like it's in a tournament this short, they're going to it's going to be a complete crapshoot. Choice was between Bedard and Celebrini for Canada. The answer was bye-bye Cirelli. Mm-hmm. Noted D. Vinny Trocheck. Yeah. I think that was the X-trees. Like, I just don't know if Daily Faceoff has a way to list it. Oh yeah, Jackson Lacombs. They changed their answer. The AI changed their answer from the last time I was here. Garbage, man. I forgot that Seth Jones is hurt and they have Jackson Lacombe now. Jackson Lacombe I love dearly, but they're not going to play him. At least not in a high leverage game. But yeah, Jake Sanderson, find a way to put him in the roster. They'll dress 7, which is Hughes, McAvoy, Hughes with McAvoy, Werenski with Hanifin, Slavin with Faber, and they'll dress Sanderson as a specialist, which that'll be A-okay. The goalie for them, they're probably going to go with Hellebuck. We will see. This doesn't inspire a lot of confidence here. The last 5 of 800, 800, 9, barely, 800, 800. That's not a great way to be going into the Olympics, but, he's a 900 goalie this year. Could I see him turning it on and shutting him down? Sure. We'll see if he does that. I am not sold he will. The guy who probably should start is Jeremy Swayman. Boston, from what I've heard, and I'll have to look at this to be sure. Yeah, Boston's given up a ton of chances. Swayman is their main XG, the US's main XG option. But yeah, it should be Swayman. I think it should be Swayman also. I think that should be the guy that they go to. And I mean, he can play in big games. He played pretty well for the Bruins in the playoffs historically. So I think that is the guy that they should go to. I think they'll try and figure it out in group play, whether Hellebuck has it or not. They'll know. I think they're smart enough to know pretty much immediately. But Mike Sullivan, when he has a goalie that he likes, will ride them into the ground as long as he can. But we'll see what actually happens. Jet Greaves on Team Canada. Yeah, Jet Greaves is really good. But yeah, I think, and it is so close, I would lean a little bit toward Team USA. But boy, it is a thin margin between those two teams. But we will see. Where are the teams at? Show me the teams. What happened? Oh, okay. I see it. Next is Sweden. Sweden, they don't really have the forward firepower we're expecting. It's one of the reasons Sully got ejected. It's not untrue. Who does Sam Hollum coach? Sorry? What's going on here? Is he leading them in scoring? Well, anyway. Okay, he's Sweden's national team coach. Appears that is his full-time gig. But Swedish defense is astounding. It's real good. It's better than Canada's. And their goaltending is, with Gustafsson, is probably better than Canada's. Their forwards, their issue is at center. Because there's somebody's hurt. I forget who. Like, their obvious number one is hurt. I forget who it is. This might be the easiest way to find it right off the top of my dome. Backlund, Patterson, Carlson, Venberg, Yarncroke, Janmark, Sundquist, yeah, Leo Carlson. Yep. Gustafsson's comparable to Thompson. That's probably fair. Yeah, it's Leo Carlson who's hurt. And he's a point per game this year. Boy, they could use him. Because then that knocks them down to Joel Eriksson Ek. That knocks them down to Elias Patterson. And I don't think you're really happy with that. But I'm not sure. We will see, I suppose. I think that team, they can, on a good day, beat either the US or Canada. but we will see. All right. Finland. They have UC Saros or nothing in goal. I am not confident in Jonas Karpasalo. I'm not confident in Kevin Lankinen. I'm not confident in UC Saros either. He's not been very good this year. I don't know. We will see. But this Finnish team, I don't think is all that good. And they are no Barkov. Like, Barkov's hurt. If you add Barkov, Rope, Hintz, Sebastian Aho, then you're going up against anybody. You don't. You don't have Barkov, Rope, Hintz, Sebastian Aho. You have Sebastian Aho and Rope Hintz, which I don't know. They don't. I don't think they're all that good. The defense is Heiskanen and Lindell and nothing. Their depth forwards like Joel Kiviranta, Capo Caco. I like Luosterainen. I like Lindell, but they're not like. This is a team. I do not think they are in serious. I don't really think they're in that serious bronze medal contention. They're closer. They are closer to Czechia than they are to Sweden, I would say. But Czechia, where Finland does not have no goaltender, Czechia has 3 that are playing quite well. Lukáš Dostal has... Lukáš Dostal. Yes, the save percentage is in there. He's on fire right now. He had a slow start to the season. Is a .915 save on a team that does not defend. What's he up to in goals saved? Oops. Goalies. Yeah, he's up above water in goals saved. And he had a bad start to the season, but he's coming back. I think he has it. I think I'd still take Czechia over Sweden. I don't know about Czechia over Sweden. Czechia over Finland? Sure. Czechia over Finland. Czechia over Sweden? Yeah. Not so sold on that. They don't have the depth up front, I don't think, to do it. They have some really high-end players up front, and their defense is not as good, not even close to as good as Finland's, and that was one of Finland's big problems. Like, Jan Ruda, no. Radim Šimić. Like, these are guys in the Czech league, which is not a very high European league. It's not a particularly great league. Like, Ondrej Kase. Dominik Kubalik's in the NL, and so is Matej Shronsky. David Tomasek just went back to the SHL. There's some talent here. They have 2 centers, like 3 centers even, that are legitimate. 4. They have good center depth. Because they'll do Natchez on the top line with Pasternak. They'll do Hertl. They'll do Foxa. They'll do Kampf. Who else is scoring other than that top line? Like, you have to go to Kubalik. And I'm not confident in that. And Gudis and Hronek are both right-handed. which means you're playing a lot of minutes with Michael Kempney. I don't think you really want to be doing that. It'll be Dostal or Vemelka or Vladar carrying that team. Like, that'll be it. They didn't take David Jiricek. Yeah, true. But a lot of people are pretty high on the Czechs. I'm not really one of them. Like I said, I do think Finland is closer to the Czechs than they are to Sweden. Even specifically without Barkov. With Barkov, it's different, but I'm not that high on that Czech team. I don't think they have the depth to really do much. Now, a team that I am higher on than most are these gentlemen out of Switzerland. Now, Czechia is top heavy. 1T. Yeah, I get it. I'm not sold on it. I like Roman Josi, and they probably I don't know if they split him up from JJ Moser or they play one of them off on their offside, but I think Josi can play either side from my recollection, but we'll see. I like this defense better than Czechia's by a pretty wide margin because of Roman Josi, and I think JJ Moser is as good as a Filip Hronek or a Radko Gudas, but hadn't seen Bereznik. He's still here. It's 39 years old. Akira Schmid will obviously be their guy. He's been perfectly fine with Vegas this year. Christoph Berchi, is he Sven Berchi's brother? I remember Sven Berchi. Oh, once again, I clicked on something on Elite Prospects. There we go. No, he is not Sven Berchi's brother. Spelled differently, I think. Nico Hischier is your 1C. Cooking. Playing him with Fiala. Playing him with Nino. Then you have a second line of Kurashev with Timo Meyer, with Pius, or probably Pius Suter centering Timo Meyer and Philip Kurashev. Maybe Kurashev on the third line. They might play one of the NL guys. But they have a lot of NL guys because the NL is a pretty high quality league. Like, and these aren't guys that you've never heard of, at least a lot of them. Dean Kukin, Sven Andrighetto, not Akira Schmid's brother. Like, there's a lot to like about this team. I think they can. I think they're better than Germany, maybe. Right there with Germany. I think they're deeper than Germany. Germany has no depth. No depth at all. I think head-to-head Switzerland beats Germany. Nino Niederreiter. We love Nino Niederreiter. The other Berchi's last name ends in an I. True. I like the Swiss, man. They're my regular dark horse bronze medal pick. Like, if you go, like, my chalk is, I think US takes gold. I think Canada takes silver. It's just a complete coin flip. Then if I do like a dark horse, I think Switzerland gets a medal. I think they're pretty good. I think they're not bad at all. Then after Switzerland, we do have to talk about Germany. They have Grubauer, who's playing good this year. That was a giant problem for them, was Grubauer. If he is playing well, they'll be okay. But they have so many guys from the German league. And the German league is not good. It's about even with the Czech league, maybe a little worse. There's more imports in the German league, I think. Like, more people in Germany speak English, so more imports like to go there, I think is the deal, but I'm not. Don't quote me on that. The high end of Team Germany: Draisaitl, Stützle, Peterka, Seider, Grubauer. Grubauer's kind of tacked on there, but he's your goalie. No chance Seider plays anything less than 30 minutes a night, because Corbinian Geibel, is that who you give it to? Is that who you're giving those minutes to? Moritz Mueller, a guy that I've certainly heard of. He's 39 years old. Kai Wisman, Fabio Wagner, guys I have never heard of in my life. But they have Leon. And Leon has shown that he can just drag a carcass of a team forward. So, and Dominic Cahoon, do they load up one line? Do they do Leon, Stützle, Peterka? I think that's probably the smart thing to do, to send out one insane line. Then Lucas Reichel is not an NHLer, at least not right now. Wojtek Stachowiak is an AHL player. Like, Nico Sturm is a solid fourth liner in the NHL, but he's not much more than that. The problem with them is they're non-NHL guys are not huge impact makers. Like, the only one that really jumps off the page is Dominic Cahoon. Because Dominic Cahoon was a serviceable NHL player. Freddie Tiffels is one of their better options here. He capped as mostly an ECHL player. Like, he couldn't hack it in the AHL. He was a good ECHL player and a fringe AHLer. Now, he's been a point per game with Isvaren, but the Dell's just not very good. Like, the German league is not at a very high level, and the best players in the German league are former NCAA guys. Like, Evan Barrett was a Penn State guy. Like, Riley Barber, Nick Halloran. Like, import. You have to get down to Freddie Tiffels to get a non-import. Like, Taro Hirose. Like, Taro Hirose is one of the best players in that league, and not an NHLer. Like, played like a dozen games in the NHL, maybe. Like, it's an import-driven league, but it's the imports that aren't quite good enough to play in other leagues. Like, Andy Mealy is one of the better. Like, that's not gonna work, man. I have no faith in this German team. Now, will they be fun because of that top line? Absolutely. And I will want to watch their games. But I don't think they are in the same MLS with a larger size. Yeah, kinda. Except they don't get like random washed up superstars. They get just washed up fourth liners. Liam Kirk, exactly. Liam Kirk was not even an AHLer, and is fourth in scoring in the Dell. That's what we're looking at for the Dell. Like, if you're a good NCAA player, like Evan Barrett, who is leading the Dell in scoring, was a good college hockey player. Not great. He was like, I don't know, regularly the third or fourth best player on Penn State when he was there, which is not an incredible team. Like, that's not an incredible college hockey program, at least until they got McKenna, and even then they're still, like, last year they made the Frozen Four, but this is prior to that. Like, if you're a good NCAA player, you you make it, you can play in the Dell. Like, you can make it happen. Now, I think they do have import rules, but I think they have pretty lax import rules, especially compared to the Swedish league or to the Finnish league. Like, the Swedish league, and that helps development in those countries, like limiting imports, but it now does it weaken the product. The Dell's product is helped by having imports. That's a whole other discussion I'm not super qualified to have, but next is Slovakia. We gotta relax on Slovakia. I don't like another group of people there. It's like, oh, Martin Gernat's on that team, huh? They have one good NHL. Yeah, that's why they're any good. Yeah, They have one good NHL forward, like a legitimate contributor, and that's Juraj Slafkovsky. Like Martin Pospisil, fourth liner. Pavel Regenda, he's having a nice season with the Sharks. He's showing up a little bit. He's got 8 goals in 16 games. Now, is that after having 4 goals in 28 games in the AHL? Yes. Is he doing some of that with Macklin Celebrini? Yes. Dalibor Dvorsky, like, he's young. He was a high pick. Yeah, a 10th overall pick. So, grain of salt with him, and he's still figuring it out. And same with, like, Simon Nemec. Like, Simon Nemec is a good defenseman. So is Eric Chernak. Like, I'm fine with these two. Martin Ferravari's wearing the A. That's grim. Any chance Halak wants to come back? They have one NHL goaltender and one AHL goaltender. They have NCAA Adam Gajan, I don't know, who has not been especially great for Minnesota Duluth. They probably start one of the veteran guys. So, Samuel Hlavage, who has been, it appears, quite bad in the AHL. Or the guy from the Czech League, which, again, we established not the best league, who's been good in the Czech League, but it's European hockey, so it's all low scoring. Hlavage plays good in international competitions. CHL numbers with a grain of salt, as Iowa's been terrible since the move from Houston. Okay, good to know. Dvorsky's great on the FHM team. Yeah. Exporting players helps development because it allows the best players to improve versus better same age. That is certainly true, yes. Rajan got selected way too high. Should have taken Augustine or Fowler. He was selected before Trey Augustine? Not Trey. Yeah, Trey Augustine. That's tough. Oh, Lavai. Okay, so it's like Budai. It's Lavai. Okay, that makes sense. I don't think the Slovakia team does jack. Like, they are that's another tier, like beyond Germany. They don't have the high end that the Germans have. They don't have the depth that the Czechs have. They don't have the depth that the Swiss have. Like, that's another step down. They're closer to Latvia than they are to Germany, I would say. Latvia's up next. They have goalies. Free trade and movement of talent, baby. That's right. Elvis Merzlikins, I might be wrong. I think I heard that Elvis is on a heater. Meh. Not on a heater. How's he doing recently? Yeah, that's not bad at all. And Shilov's, I see Shilov's a decent amount because of the Penguins. He has been fine this year, and he's been better because they've lessened his workload. They've let Skinner take more starts. Yeah, he's pretty hot right now. 922 over his last 7. I think they alternate those two probably then between Merzlikins and Shilovs. But we'll see. Right. I'm reading about Guyon here. Or Gajon. Probably Guyon. There are, like, they have one NHL defenseman right now in Uvis Balinskis. I wish someone would trade for Merzlikins. That's possible. He doesn't like the explosions. If I were in his situation, I wouldn't like the explosions either. Shilovs and Merzlikins, I think, probably alternate. Uvis Balinskis is a NHL 7th defenseman, but, and as Robbie Frazier has pointed out in the chat, you got to watch Albert Smits. Albert Smits is probably going to go top 10 in the upcoming draft. He's a 6'3", 205 offensive defenseman playing in Liga and putting up, those are good numbers for Liga. 18 points in 51 games. Oh wait, that's what he's on pace for. But still, 13 points in 37 games. It's, those are good numbers for a teenager in a men's league, a pretty high quality men's league. Now, they don't really even have a Tomáš Tatar like Slovakia had, who we didn't talk about, but they certainly don't have a Juraj Slafkovsky. They have a Kasper Stogavins. They have Zemgus Girgensons. They have Teddy Bluger. They have Rudolfs Balcers, if you ever wondered where he went. Now, we just had this big conversation about how the Dell sucks. Kasper Stogavins is in the Dell too. I don't think he plays very much. There's some big kid who was just picked out of here that I'm kind of surprised isn't on this roster. I forget his name though. Maybe it'll come to me. I don't know. But like a little crop of AHL guys. Sandis Vilmanis is gonna go elbow somebody in the head probably. There's something there. Martin Jerkels is playing in Czechia. They have something. I like this group of forwards more than I like Slovakia's, which I think is crazy. Slovakia's defense is better because Nemec and Chernak are better than Balinskis and Smits, but Latvia's got a goalie, so we'll see. Here we go, Team Latvia. We love you, Team Latvia. They are if I was picking the darkest of horses to get a medal, like if I had to pick a long shot to get a medal, I'd take Latvia. But I obviously do not think they're going to do very much. If you export your talent, it's true. Like, I mean, now, they should have been having all of those guys play for Dinamo Riga, but that didn't work out for them. I don't even know. I think Dinamo Riga plays in the Latvian league now, which is kind of sad, but the Danes, more guys than you would think. No defenseman, not so good, and some Dell defensemen, some Ice HL defensemen. That's the Austrian league. That's yet lower. Oliver Lauridsen, a 36-year-old guy from Liga. Like, is he their best player, maybe? I couldn't tell you. Yeah, it looks like he's been a solid defenseman on TPS. They have a goalie. They have Freddie Anderson, albeit one that's kind of like losing his job to Brandon Bussey. And they have Matt Sugard. Don't play Matt Sugard. They will, but you probably shouldn't play Matt Sugard. Ehlers gonna have to. Yeah. This is Nikolai Ehlers' team. This is they're gonna play. Their 1C will be Lars Eller, and Lars Eller is he'll try his best. Like, then you go to Alexander True, who played in the NHL for a little while. But, like, Jonas Ronberg is a fourth-line fringer for the Knights. Like, Oscar Fix Mugard is a guy I've not heard of before. He's played 3 games with the Kraken. That's something. He's been pretty good in Coachella. He's only 20. Okay. That kid could show something. It's going to be Ehlers, and then I don't know if they load Bjorkstrand on that line too, or they use Bjorkstrand as more of like a shutdown guy. I think Bjorkstrand's kind of transitioned from more of a offensive force here in his later career, but because he used to be really able to score. Yeah, he's not scoring so much anymore, but that's okay. They would need 20 goal Oliver Bjorkstrand, and that's not really what they have. But Mads is terrible. Yeah, I have seen a lot of people say that, unfortunately. Still top 10 all time scoring by Danish NHLers. Yeah, terrible, but still has better G-Sex than the other 2 Sens goalies. That's tough. That's pretty tough. Okay. 2 more teams, I think. Yeah, just France and Italy. And then we'll hop off for the day. France. Belmar. Texier. Nobody. They do have Stefan DaCosta. KHL guy, Stefan DaCosta. And some guys who are like Florian Douay, maybe? I'm not sure. Cristobal Huey is their assistant coach, for the record. And they have a goalie who has his NHL rights owned by someone, which is usually a good sign. 7th round pick, Antoine Keller. He was not good in the ACHL and has not been good in the Swiss National League. He was pretty good in the Swiss second league. The team only here because Russia isn't allowed? Well, yeah, honestly, Team Belarus is probably better than the Danes, or as good as the Danes. I honestly probably better than the Danes. They could play them pretty even. Like, Belarus could potentially be here too if their government wasn't bad, you know. Stefan DaCosta, how's he doing with Yekaterinburg? Pretty good. A pretty good KHL player, which that's something. That's something to have a pretty good KHL player on this team. A lot of disagree with the Belarus take. Yeah, well, they'd be competitive, I think, but they have the Protosses and Sharangovich and guys like that, but qualification process Belarus is never. Yeah, but I don't think they haven't been able to play any IIHF games since they've been even remotely relevant, you know, like since they've had actual NHL talent. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not watching a ton of the World Championship. I'll be entirely honest. So Justin Adamo is he was a like 3rd line, 4th line college player. He went to RMU and then RPI. Yeah, France. if they got the chance to play another team that was as low as them, maybe. But they play Canada, they play Switzerland, they play Czechia. That's not happening. Yeah. Big body goalies do not. They don't hold up. As a general rule, a lot of them fall apart, but not all of them. Vasilevsky's doing okay. Knock on wood. But we'll see. Finally, quick look into the host country. The team that's here because they're hosting. Matt Bradley. Didn't he play in the NHL? No. He played a couple games in the AHL. He was picked, though. He was a 5th-round pick in 2015 and is a decent player in... Oh, boy. Yeah, he kind of failed out of the Dell and is a good player in the Austrian League. The Austrian/Italian League, but it's the Austrian League. Yeah, Damian Clara, it would be so funny if they pack the house. Thomas Larkin, did he get some NHL time? If they pack the house, he played for Colgate and was another ECHL guy. The Italians pack the house and Damian Clara just shows up. He is in the SHL. Like, he's in a legit league. He's not been stupendous, like he's 888, but he's a starting goalie as an import on an SHL team. That's not nothing. And this guy's on David Fidani's on an NL team and been pretty good on an NL team. They might give him a start to get shelled one night. They're better than China, I'll say. They're better than China was a few years ago with the Olympics that they hosted. And that China team got their teeth kicked in by the non-NHL rosters. These guys are better than China, I think. They have some random imports. They've got Nick Petan's brother, Alex Petan, who, again, another ECHL level guy. They'll try and do something. I don't know. They're not good. I would say a 0.0% chance that they win anything, but we'll see. Damian Clara. Let's see it, buddy. Let's see it happen. Speaking of Mads Sugard, that's another guy who got just obliterated in I still think about that World Junior game where he just got lit up by Canada. But anyway, what's our... When the first game, 10:40. I should wake up for the 6:10 game. February 12th, that's Thursday. I should wake up for the 6:10 game. See if we can stream it, but just kidding. The Olympic Committee will hang me up by my toes and hit me with bamboo rods. Anyway, I think that's where we're going to call it for today. We've done our little Olympic preview. My final Olympic ranking, right off the top of the dome. U.S., Canada, Sweden. U.S., Canada, gap. Sweden, gap. Finland, gap. Czechia, Switzerland, Germany, gap. Slovakia, Latvia, Denmark, France, huge gap, France, Italy. Well, no. Regular sized gap to France, and then huge gap to Italy. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be fun. I'm just excited to have this be happening, you know? Like, this rocks. I'm so glad they're back. I'm so glad the NHL players can play in the Olympics again. We love it. We love to see it. The French have so many guys named Bozon. They don't have Tim, though. They used to have Tim. We love it. I hope Pierre-Edouard Bellemare does something fun. He's like 45 years old. We shall see. U.S. gold, Canada silver, Sweden beats Czechia for bronze. I'm going to say U.S. gold, but they play, because of one of the U.S. or Canada loses a game in the play-in round, so they play each other in the semifinal. So I'm going to say U.S. gold. U.S. gold. Let's do Sweden silver and then Canada bronze. I think that's a weird way I could do it. I don't know. Canada upsets Sweden in the semis. I could see that. What's the... Oh, I got to look through this real quick before I log off. But they have a most likely... Yeah. Best guess for next tournament opponent. Where's Canada? So they think Canada's most likely matchup is with Switzerland, Germany, or the Czechs. What's the U.S.? Probably the same, right? Switzerland, Slovakia, Czechs. We'll see. They give the U.S. a 97% win probability against Latvia, 92 against Denmark, 89 against Germany. I think Latvia is better than Denmark, but that's fine. Even though Denmark has the high-end talent. But we'll see. Olympic hockey, folks. Olympic hockey with the best players in the world. We love to see it. All right, my friends. Well, I am going to hop off for today. I already had to decline a call from my girlfriend, so I'm going to call her back. But we're at the end here anyway. All right, fellas. Catch you soon. That would be funny. I would love to see Sid get more gold, but it would also be funny to see Canada lose because it's their sport, you know. But anywho, all right, I'll see y'all soon. Thanks for tuning in as always. Good to hang out with you guys. We love you and we love freaking Olympic hockey, my fellow